Tonight, the Tigers and Indians meet in a twilight doubleheader, and Detroit has a chance to fatten their lead a bit in the American League East. The Tigers are red hot. They're on fire, and you get 2 for the price of 1 tonight. It's the Tigers and Indians live from Cleveland. Tigers 87.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to Cleveland. I'm George Kell, along with Al Kaline. These 2 ball clubs just about ready to go, and the first of 2 here tonight. It's been raining most of the day in Cleveland. About 3:30, 4 o'clock this afternoon, Al, it didn't look like we'd ever play a ball game here.
Well, we landed early this morning. It was raining, and it continued to rain right before we got here to the ballpark. But actually, George, the players would rather see an overcast day. It's a bright, sunny day right now, and it's going to be very tough to see for the first 4 or 5 innings. And anybody who can throw the ball hard, it's going to be extremely tough to hit.
You'll get a chance to see it in a moment. The sunshine is just past the pitcher's mound, which means the pitcher will be delivering out of the sun into the shade, and as Al pointed out, it's going to make it very tough for the hitters here in game number 1. You can see it right now. Dan Petrie will pitch for the Tigers in the first game tonight. Dan's won 7, lost 5 this year. And Rich Yett, a right-hander, a big right-hander, will pitch for the Cleveland Ball Club. Rich won 2, lost 5, but he had a great outing against the Yankees about 10 days ago.
Well, they think an awful lot of him. He's only 24 years old, and if he gets ahead of the hitters, we were talking to Herb Score, the announcer for Cleveland, if he gets ahead of the hitters, he has a outstanding split-finger pitch. But his big problems in the past, up until his last start against the Yankees, 7 1/3 innings, allowed only 4 hits, shut him out. If he can get ahead of the hitters and can throw that split-finger pitch, he's very tough, but he has not been able to get ahead of the hitters.
Well, Dan Petrie for the Tigers, 7 5 this year. His last outing was in Kansas City, pitching in relief, and brilliant, I might say, in relief. Dan has made it plain he does not want to go to the bullpen, but he did in Kansas City and pitched extremely well.
He pitched real well, and he says, what I have to do, I can't complain about it. He said, what I have to do is prove to them that I can pitch coming out of the bullpen, and then when I get a chance to start, have to do a good job. And he's very determined to have a good outing here in Cleveland. Yankees, he pitched 7 1/3 innings, allowed just 4 hits. He shut him out. He beat Ron Guidry and the Yankees 1-0. He walked 2 and struck out 3. This fella has a good fastball slider, and when he's ahead of the hitter, has a good split finger pitch. But he's been wild. He gets behind the hitters, and that's when he gets into a lot of trouble. His record 2-5, 4.84 earned run average, and this will be his 4th start and 30th appearance of 87. His 3rd start since being recalled from Buffalo on August the 10th.
Well, this is the first of 4 here this weekend, a doubleheader tonight. These 2 ball clubs will play here again tomorrow afternoon and wrap it up on Sunday. Then the Tigers take off for Minnesota. They'll play 3 in the Twin Cities, and more than likely they'll run into a very angry Minnesota ball club. The Minnesota club has been playing just about as well as the Tigers until they got to Tiger Stadium. And it's almost unbelievable that Tiger pitching would do a job on the Twins like they did.
Well, I couldn't believe it. The pitching that Minnesota threw at us was not great, but they are capable of scoring a lot of runs. And I can't remember a series where they shut down the Minnesota ball club the way the pitching staff of the Tigers did in the series. They have to go to Minnesota, and they are the best team in all of baseball at winning at home. That's the Minnesota Twins.
So 4 here this weekend, 3 in Minnesota on this road trip, and then the Tigers come home a week from tonight to play the Texas Ball Club on a big weekend series. Lou Whitaker will lead it off. Whitaker, Madlock, and Gibson will be the Tiger batters against Rich Yett, Y-E-T-T. Lou with a .267 batting average, 13 home runs, and 47 runs batted in. And the pitch is low. Greg Kosk is the umpire behind the plate tonight. Rocky Rowe is at first base, Vic Faltaggio at second, and Larry Barnett is at third base. Barnett is the crew chief.
This is the same crew that was in Detroit, George, last series.
1 ball, 1 strike to Whitaker. And he fouls this one away. That'll make it 1-2.
And you'll probably see that a lot early in this ball game. The hitters swinging late on the pitch. Very tough to see. The hitters will be squinting, and the ball seems to get up on you a lot quicker in the dark.
Lou foul tips this one away. Andy Allenson is the Cleveland catcher. A lot of sunshine, a lot of blue sky in Cleveland. Weatherman says we're not out of this yet. Still expecting more rain tonight and tomorrow. Pitch in the dirt. Ball 2 and strike 2. Alan Trammell is getting a rest here in game number 1. He will play the second game. Jim Morrison playing at shortstop. And he struck him out. Good hard slider. Whitaker foul tipped it right into the mid of Allenson. So there's one out, and the batter will be Madlock as we look at the last pitch. Split finger pitch.
Split finger pitch. You can see a very good one that went out of the strike zone. It comes up there. It looks like it's going to be a fastball, and then the bottom just drops out of it.
Bill Madlock batting at .308, and he takes it low. This fellow's had 11 home runs and 32 runs batted in as a Tiger.
He has done one whale of a job since signing with the Detroit Tigers. He's not only produces on the field, but he's a leader in the locker room.
1 ball, no strikes to Madlock. And a ball hit into left field. Back goes Hall near the wall and off the wall. Headed for second is Madlock, and he'll go in with a double. Hall was playing in rather shallow. Gibson batting .281. He has 17 home runs and 61 runs batted in. Rich Yett gets ready. Pitch is high. They give Gibson nearly all of left field. Mel Hall is well into left center. And a pitch inside, ball 2.
And how tough it is to see. I don't know whether I would have the left fielder playing that far around the center field. Gibson, who has been hitting a few balls to left field of late, could swing late.
Ball 2, no strikes. And he helped him out. Gibby was going to jump all over a fastball and swung at a pitch out of the strike zone. Looks like it would be difficult, Al, for the right fielder and the center fielder to see line drives right now.
It looks like it from looking at the shadows at right field and center field, as you mentioned, particularly right field now. I can see the shadow. It's going to be very difficult for them to see a semi-line drive.
Ball 2 and strike 1. Runner at second, 1 out. That'll make it 2-2 as he changed up on him. He got Gibby well out in front. This gives you some idea of what Al was talking about a moment ago. The sun shining right into the right fielder's face. The 2-2 pitch. That'll make it 3-2. He has some luxury here. Rich Yett does. He doesn't have to give in to Gibson. First base open. Ball 3, strike 2. This is fouled away. Whitaker struck out to open this inning, in case you joined us late. Bill Madlock lined a double off the fence in left field. And a full count to Gibson. Rich Yett is ready. And a ball is caught, and back goes Madlock. Good base running. Madlock didn't stray too far at second. Gibson got the line drive on the end of the bat, and
You see how he reaches out, looked like an off-speed pitch, and a good play by Carter at first base. And as George mentioned, good heads-up running by Madlock with the, you see a ball hit that hard, you have the first instinct is to start running. But he stays at second base.
Second out of the inning, and it'll bring up Darrell Evans, who's batting in the cleanup spot. Darrell has 24 home runs and 69 runs batted in.
And they put the Ted Williams shift on Evans. They have the shortstop around on the second base side.
There's a strike. Good fastball, about knee-high. There's the Ted Williams shift. They put 3 infielders on the right side of the infield. Leaves only Jacoby on the left side.
And that shift originated here. Lou Boudreau put it on.
Pitch outside makes it 1-1. Anything hit to the normal shortstop position will go through into the outfield. Darrow fouls this one away. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Tigers trying to take an early lead in the first inning.
It's something they've been able to do quite frequently this last couple of weeks is get ahead of the teams in the first and second innings. And certainly it's a great advantage to the starting pitcher. It gives them a couple of runs to work with.
1 ball, 2 strikes. It's Matt Noakes in the on-deck circle. Yet taking a little time. That's a foul ball. I'm sure it hit off Allinson's shin guard or something. It was behind the plate and then jumped quickly out in front. Very delightful evening here in Cleveland. 71 degrees at game time. Darrell Evans waiting on the 1-2 pitch. And here it is. The ball gets away from Allinson, but no advance by Madlock. Tigers would like to have him over at third base. He doesn't run that well anymore. And a line drive base hit to the outfield, and especially to right field. Corey Snyder throws extremely well. He would make it very close on Madlock. Ball 2 and strike 2. And the pitch from Rich Yet. Ball hit towards shortstop. He may not throw anybody out. He won't, but on to third goes Madlock. Darrow punched it to the shortstop side. There was nobody there. Franco came all the way from the right field side to field the ball.
Franco has a bad arm. He played in a game against Milwaukee that Molitor beat out a base hit, lobbed the ball to first base, and then has not played in a couple days.
So the Tigers have him at first and third for Matt Noakes. Had Darrell hit the ball hard at all, any kind of a sharply hit ball would have rolled through, but he just topped it, which gave Franco time to get over in front of it. Madlock, the runner at third, Evans at first, 2 outs, no score. And a strike to Matthew. Noakes batting at .292. He has 23 home runs and 64 runs batted in. Look out. We'll make it 1-1. He has thrown about 3 split finger pitches in the dirt here in the first inning, which would lead you to believe he's going to be very careful throwing it with a runner at third base. 1 ball, 1 strike, and a ball makes it 2-1. Matthew looks like he's trying to jerk one through the hole into right field. You could see how he wanted to go out and get that pitch, but wisely laid off. This is fouled away. So it's ball 2 and strike 2 to Noakes. Two on, 2 out in the first inning. First of 2 here in Cleveland tonight, and we're going to be telecasting both ball games for you. Darrell Evans, the runner at first, and Bill Madlock, the runner at third base. Noakes waiting on the 2-2 pitch. We'll make it ball 3. Jim Morrison would bat next if Noakes gets on. Evans running on the pitch. Here it is. He walked him. Well, Noakes gets a walk. Tigers had the bases loaded in the first inning for Jim Morrison.
There's Doc Edwards, managing the Cleveland Ball Club now. Former catcher, Kansas City organization, and several others. Was the bullpen coach here for many years.
Jim Morrison with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Got it over on the outside part of the plate. 1 strike to Jim. Yet throws a little harder than you might think. He has that kind of short stroke coming at you. Gets ready for the 1 strike pitch. Strike 2. Greg Kosk up with the right hand, so Rich Yett very much in control here with a strike 2 count to Morrison. Boy, if he swings late, we're going to have a lot of fun. Something down the right field line. They play him as an extreme pull hitter. And he struck him out. Jim Morrison went for the bad pitch, and he strikes out. Tigers load the bases, fail to score. We go to the bottom of the first. 0-0.
22nd appearance of the season, his 20th start of the year. This will be his second outing against the Tribe, both as a starter. But back on June 1st, he lost the ball game to Phil Niekro, where they bombed him 9-6. And he dropped his career mark against Cleveland to 8 wins and 7 losses. Dan was very impressive in his last outing. That was his second relief pitcher appearance of the year on August 14th against Kansas City. Pitched 4 innings, allowed 4 hits and 1 run. Didn't walk anybody, and he struck out 3. Dan's throwing the ball well with good velocity, but he's been making a lot of bad pitches with his slider, what used to be his out pitch. And his last appearance in Kansas City, he was able to get his slider down and away from the right-handers.
First pitch to Butler is a strike on the outside part of the plate. Big Greg Kosk is the umpire, K-O-S-C. They play him shallow for this fella. He can bunt and he can run. And he takes it outside. Brett Butler batting .296. He has 4 home runs and 28 runs batted in. A 1-1 pitch. There's a base hit into right, just out of the reach of Whitaker. Well, Butler is on with a leadoff single. Lou went as high as he could go and just out of his reach.
Well, I see the pitch up in the strike zone again. Dan just not able to get the ball down. And he wanted to throw a strike to that young guy because it's almost like having a double when he gets on first base. He's an outstanding base stealer. He had 32 stolen bases last season. That's the lowest he's had in 3 years here.
Julio Franco will bat second in the Cleveland lineup, and he takes it high. Just a reminder that coming up later will be our Tiger home run inning. And if your postcard is selected and a Tiger hits a home run during the home run inning, you're going to win $1,200 from Miller Lite. And if it's a Grand Slam home run, the prize will be $10,000. So stay tuned. Julio Franco has a .321 batting average, 6 home runs. He's batted in 39.
That base hit by Butler now has hit straight safely in 15 straight games. Not quite as many as Paul Molitor, but still pretty good, 15 straight.
Paul Molitor has extended his to 35, did last night. Bernie Smilovitz will have a feature on Paul Molitor between games today on his show that will be aired between the games of the doubleheader. Pitch to Franco. It's a strike. 1-1 to Julio. As Al Kaline pointed out, he's just playing on a day-to-day basis. He has a very bad throwing arm. Herb Score, great Indian left-hander a few years ago, now doing the radio broadcast here in Cleveland, told us before the game if he has to make a long throw, he could be out of the game right there. And I'd say from the shortstop position, there's liable to be several long throws. One ball, one strike. Strike two. Boy, he has thrown him a couple of good breaking sliders. Right where he wants them. That's Johnny Goro coaching at third base. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Dan Petrie gets ready. That was close. Julio Franco has said that he wants to be a musician when he ends his baseball career. He told some of the writers that he had bought a horn, he was practicing, and they asked his wife about it, and she said, well, he ought to be pretty good. He blows a lot of hot air.
He better concentrate on having about 10 more good years as a shortstop and a hitter.
Dan Petrie is doing a good job holding Butler close at first base. You make it close over there a couple of times, and they don't get that big running start. It's 1-2 to Franco. And the pitch from Petrie is a pitch out. They thought Butler might be running. Ball 2 and strike 2. Well, if he wants to go, this is a good pitch. Very seldom do you pitch out to make it 3-2. Unless you are reading their signs and you're just almost certain he's going to run.
Butler saying something to Rocky Rowe about the move to first base, but it looked like a good move to me. Very quick move. Butler looked like he was ready to run on that pitch.
I would think so. If he's going to run, this is the pitch. And there he goes. Ball fouled away. It's pretty tough to ask your pitcher to pitch out 2-2 and run the count to 3-2. Even though you are very suspicious he's going to be running. That's about all you can do is guess on it. Very few teams have the signs of the other team. They change them nearly every series, so it's tough to pick them up. Ball 2, strike 2. This is out of play. Julio went down and got a good slider and fouled it away.
Usually on the first game of a doubleheader, you pitch your better pitcher because it's very important to win the first game of a doubleheader. You don't see too many times a team wins a doubleheader anymore. But I'm sure the reason Dan Petrie is pitching ahead of Frank Tanana is to take advantage of this shadow situation where Dan throws a lot harder than Frank Tanana.
This ball is fouled. Still 2-2. It's been a long first inning. Tigers loaded the bases before Morrison struck out to end that threat. Indians have been batting for a while. Butler led off with a single. Ball 2 and strike 2 to Franco. Nope. There's a base hit into right. He hit it hard, and Butler will stop at second. Butler had started to run on the pitch. Then he stopped and was going back when the ball was hit hard past him. So they have him at first and second.
Excuse me, George. Butler was going around second base. He hits the top of the base, and he slips off the base. Ball hit very hard. Butler rounding the base, and as he touched the base, he wanted to stop, and you can see him there laying on the ground.
So the Indians threaten in the first inning. 2 on and nobody out for the designated hitter, Pat Tabler. Tabler with a .313 batting average. He has 8 home runs, 68 runs batted in. Tigers halfway look for the bunt, but not really. 1 strike to Tabler, who gave no indication he was going to bunt. The Indians have had a dismal year, but not with the bat. They'll make runs with anybody.
Many people picked Cleveland to win the American League East, and after the '86 season that they had, you can see where some people would select them.
And a strike. They call that a strike. Rocky Rowe goes up with the right hand, and that does not endear him to a lot of fans down the first baseline. Take a look at it. Let you be the umpire. Help Rocky Rowe out. Strike 2 to Pat Tabler. Joe Carter in the on-deck circle. Dan Petrie gets ready on the 2-strike pitch. Good stop by Nope. Indians have good speed out there. Butler at second runs extremely well. Franco runs well. And this fella gets down the line pretty good. But they're looking for the double play ball off his bat. He struck him out. Made a whale of a pitch. He changed up on the slider, curveball, breaking down and away from him.
Many feel the breaking ball is much more difficult to see than the fastball in shadows such as we have here at Cleveland. It's tough to see the rotation. Dan making a good pitch. One of the problems with Dan Petrie this season is that he gets 2 strikes on a hitter, and he's not able to get that third one past them, just like Franco hit a line drive to right field, had 2 strikes on him.
So the batter is Joe Carter. 2 on, 1 out in the first inning. One ball, no strikes. Carter has a .250 batting average, but he has 26 home runs and 79 runs batted in.
Yeah, he was the first player in Cleveland history to hit 20 home runs, have 20 bases, and have 100 RBIs last season.
We're keeping a very close eye on Butler. He's being harassed by Whitaker on every pitch. 1 ball, no strikes. Ball hit towards shortstop. Not hard. They go to second for 1. Safe! They call him safe at second. Whitaker can't believe it, nor can anybody else.
Well, this is one of the more unusual sights you'll ever see. Lou Whitaker arguing about anything in the game of baseball. And all the umpire can say is that's just the way I saw it. But they did not hold Franco close at first base. Even with Carter, who is a pull hitter, they gave him a big lead. Ball was not hit all that hard. Morrison, of course, is playing shortstop. And many feel that's the position he plays least best. He's normally a third baseman, can play second base, but does not play shortstop as well as the other two.
Well, we'll look at it. Let you be the umpire. You see the big lead Franco has. Al pointed that out to you. Well, we couldn't tell from that angle. Whatever, the bases are loaded, 1 out for Mel Hall. Now we'll look at it from this angle, and
it's even harder to look from that angle, I believe.
Well, Vic Baltaggio was right on top of the play. He was standing there some 6 feet away, and that's the way he reads it. So bases loaded for Mel Hall. 2 singles, fielder's choice play here in the first inning. Mel Hall has 10 home runs and 41 runs batted in. The pitch from Dan Petrie. That's a strike. Brett Butler is the runner at third, Franco at second, and Carter at first base. 1 ball, 1 strike. Hall came to this ball club with Carter from the Cubs. And we're ready for the 1-1 pitch. Ball hit over the bag and into center field. That'll get 2 in. And on to third goes Carter. A base hit for Hall, and the Indians take an early 2-0 lead.
Now this ball is hit directly over the head of Dan Petrie, high over his head. He had no chance. You can see that the ball almost hit second base.
Would have been a perfect play for Petrie had it not bounced so high. It was right back at him, but well out of his reach and out of the reach of Morrison. And the batter is Jacoby, Brooke Jacoby. Brooke fouls it away. Joe Carter hustled his way into third base, so the Indians have him at first and third, and there's still only 1 out. Only out of the inning, Pat Tabler struck out. Brooke Jacoby has 23 home runs. Pitch is low, 1-1. You look at 23 home runs, you'd think a fellow have 75, 80 runs batted in. He's only had 49.
Fellow was mentioned early in the year of being traded. Cleveland was looking for pitching very badly, and this fellow's name came up many times.
Ball two, and strike one to Jacoby. It's been a long, hard first inning for Dan Petrie. A 2-1 pitch to Jacoby is a strike, makes it 2-2. Butler opened the inning with a single. Franco followed with a base hit. Tabler struck out. Then Carter, safe on the fielder's choice play, set the stage for Mel Hall's 2-run single. Now it's 2-2 to Brooke Jacoby. They want to hold Hall close over there, give him a chance for a double play ball. And a foul out of play. When they made that call at second base on Carter, you could hear boos all over the ballpark. You would think the call went against the Indians, but the Tigers have an enormous number of fans here. And they settled in on Voltaggio. Good play by Noakes. That saved a run as Matthew got out there and blocked it.
Hey, Matthew's been in the dirt quite a few times already in tonight's game, and certainly something that he had to do on that pitch to save a run from coming in from third base.
Ball 3, strike 2. You can look for Hall to be running from first base. So anything on the ground more than likely will get a run in. There he goes. Pitch is high. Jacoby gets a walk, and the bases are loaded again. Bases loaded for the second time this inning, and the batter is Corey Snyder.
And we just see some action in the bullpen. Looks like Eric King getting up.
Corey Snyder, the much heralded rookie. Here's King. Maybe not a rookie. He came up in mid-season last year. Had a very dramatic half season. And he swings at a high one. 1 strike. He is picking up where he left off last year, Al. 28 home runs, 72 runs batted in.
Also, George, he has struck out 130 times already this season. That's a lot of times, but you can see this fella has a lot of leverage. He hits the ball deep to all fields.
And the 1 strike pitch. Strike 2. 2 strikes to Corey Snyder. Well, this crowd has seen a lot of action in the first inning. The Tigers loaded the bases, did not score. Cleveland has scored 2 and still have the bases loaded. That'll make it 1-2. One ball, 2 strikes to Corey Snyder. Almost hit him. Snyder says, I thought I was hit.
I think what happened, he fell on the bat going down. And I tell you, that's awful scary. You lose sight of that ball, and you see he's got to stay in there with 2 strikes on him. This ball is right at his shoulders. And it looks like he lands on the bat.
That's what happens, right on the knob of the bat. Joe Carter is the runner at third base. Mel Hall at second base. And Brooke Jacoby, the runner at first base. Wants to get it over. It's high, ball 3. 3-2. Full count to Corey Snyder with the bases loaded, 1 out. Now Petrie has no margin for error. He has to come right in there. And he struck him out. Foul tipped it right into the mid of Noakes, and Corey Snyder strikes out. A big out for Dan Petrie.
Well, he had to challenge him. He could not fool around with him, and he just rears back and throws a fastball. Good job by Matt Noakes holding on to the foul tip.
Billy Muffet's on his way to the mound. Here's Billy. Tigers do not want this game to get out of hand here in the first inning. Indians have scored 2, still have the bases loaded. And the batter will be Andy Allenson, the catcher. So whatever Billy Muffet had to say, it didn't take long. Dan Petrie was ahead of Corey Snyder with a strike 2 count, and finally went to 3-2 before he got him. From the first pitch to Andy Allenson. It's a ball. One ball, no strikes. Bases loaded, 2 outs in the first inning. And a foul ball. One ball, 1 strike to this young fella. Came up last year. He's always been a fine hitter in the minor leagues, but he just didn't produce like they thought he would. We see the tom-tom man out in right center field. Ball hit to third. Look out! And through his legs into left field. That'll get 2 runs in. Four to nothing. The Indians lead it. Oh, you could see it was going to be a in-between hop to Brookins. And Tommy just let it scoot through his legs right here. It didn't come up.
Yeah, it didn't come up, and he didn't go down far enough. But it seems to always happen when you're back on your heels. I know playing in the outfield, when you're 3-2 on all the hitters, and the tendency is to relax as a fielder. That play should have been made, and Tommy makes it.
Error, yeah.
Tommy makes it 9 out of 10 times, or even more than that.
Batter is Tommy Hinzo, the second baseman. First time the Tigers have had a look at this young man. Last time the Tigers played the Indians, Tony Bernazard was the second baseman.
Fella runs real well, George.
And a strike makes it 1-1. Well, as an old third baseman, I could see Tommy Brookins was in a bit of trouble on that ball. It was going to be an in-between hop, and you really just want to be sure you block it, stay with it, knock it down. Maybe you can pick it up, make the play at third base. But it scooted right between his legs. I don't think Tommy touched it. And it cost Dan Petrie 2 more runs. 4-0, the Indians lead it. And it's 1-2 to Hinzo. This fella has 1 home run and 11 runs batted in. Petrie trying to get him out in the first inning. Strike. Enzo caught looking. He's out on strikes, but not before the Indians get 4. 4 runs on 3 hits, 1 error in the inning. They strand a couple, and at the end of 1, Cleveland 4, the Tigers nothing. Pat Sheridan will lead it off for the Tigers. Sheridan, John Grubb, and Tom Brookins in the second inning. 4-0, the Indians lead it. Rich Yett loaded the bases in the first inning, but he struck out Morrison to end that threat. He had 2 strikeouts in the first inning. Dan Petrie had 3. All 3 outs recorded on strikeouts, but in between, a lot of damage done. This is the first of 2 here tonight, and we're going to be here to bring both games to you. Al and our television crew in the booth before the game predicting a couple of 2 hours, 2.5-hour games, and we'll be out of here early. You've altered that, have you not?
Very much so. It's almost a 2-hour first inning.
Here's Sheridan. Patrick playing in center field. .295 batting average, 6 home runs, 44 runs batted in. And the pitch from Yett. Right down the middle. 1 strike to Sheridan. And the pitch. Over but low. Makes it 1-1. The 1-1 pitch. Ball hit to the mound. Yet picks it off and over to first base. Well, Sheridan is out. First out in the second inning. It'll bring up John Grubb.
Well, the Tigers are hoping that John Grubb can do a little bit what he did last season in the second half of the season. Just an outstanding job. John had a lot of problems this year with injuries. Sick a couple of times, but this guy is a flat-out good hitter. Sparky Anderson hoping he can put it together the second half.
Now, he hasn't been able to get going. He's been hurt, sick, and on the disabled list a couple of times. He's batting only .193, 2 home runs and 12 runs batted in. Pitch inside makes it 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike to Grubb. Pretty good crowd on hand. They're still coming in, as you might expect for a doubleheader. Here's a strike. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Indians have a good advance sale for this weekend. 1-2 to Grubb. And he struck him out. John Grubb strikes out. That's number 3 for Yett. We're going to pause 10 seconds for station identification. You're watching Tigers 87. There's a strike to Tom Brookins. Tommy batting with 2 outs, nobody on. 9 home runs, 42 runs batted in for Tommy. Pitch is low.
Well, you can see Yett is pitching with much more confidence than he did in the first inning. He's able to go challenge the hitters now, and if he gives up a base hit, it's not going to affect him too much. So he's just rearing back and throwing the ball hard, trying to get ahead of the hitters.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Played Tommy pretty much straight away, not very deep in the outfield. Corey Snyder in very shallow in right field. Pitch is low. Ball 2, strike 2. 2 outs, nobody on, second inning. 4-0, the Indians lead it. This is fouled away. Young lady seated right on the rail, almost got it in the box seat, and she's got a glove, but she didn't have it on. Now she has put down the hot dog and put her glove on. She said, I'm going to be ready. Here's a strike. Outside corner, and Tommy Brookins out on strike. 4 strikeouts for Yet. We go to the bottom of the second, 4-0 Cleveland. Brett Butler will lead it off. Indians batted around. They sent 9 batters to the plate in the first inning. There's a pitch low to Butler. Butler singled, leading off the ball game for the Indians, scored the first run of the game. He bunts and just out of the reach of Matthew. Butler popped it high in the air, but not high enough for Noakes.
Yeah, good try by Matthew, and looked like he might have a chance to get it, but the ball, he just could not get there in time.
It's what you call an all-out effort.
Always by Matthew.
1 ball, 1 strike. Tommy Brookins is about 4 steps in front of the bag, maybe more. And Brett Butler trying to hit it by him. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Among the many Tiger fans here tonight, our good friend Eddie Robinson from Detroit. He has a couple of his friends with him, Paul Barak and Harold Haas. We see Eddie quite often at Tiger games in Detroit and on the road.
Well, you knew he had to be here for tomorrow, Rocky Colavito.
That's right. Colavito's going to play in the old-timer game. And
him and Eddie are very tight.
And Herb Score gets right in there. The 2-2 pitch. Ball hit to first base, and he'd better hurry. Petrie beat him on a close play. Very close. When Butler hit the ball, Dave, and you could see that he says, hey, I'm going to beat Petrie to the bag. And here they come, and Dan wins it by a step or 2. A couple of steps, maybe. That'll bring up Julio Franco, who had a base hit, scored a run his first time up. Pitch is low. They got Julio Franco from the Phillies in a trade that sent Von Hayes over there. And Von Hayes has been a very productive ball player for the Phillies. Cleveland got about 4 or 5, didn't they, in that trade?
They did, and Franco is a real good hitter, a good offensive player. He hit 300 last year. In previous years, he had been a good RBI man, but this year he's hitting for a high average, not driving a lot of runs in.
Oh, he was trying to drive in 1 right there with 1 swing of the bat. Ball 2 and strike 1. 4-0. The Indians lead it. We're in the second inning. They got 4 in the first inning off Petrie. 2 on a bases loaded single by Mel Hall, and 2 on an error with the bases loaded by Tom Brookins. Ball 3. 3-1 to Franco. Ball 3, strike 1, and he walked him. Pitch inside to Julio, and he's on. That's the second walk given up by Petrie. Julio Franco at first base, 1 out, and the batter is Tabler, who struck out his first time up. Tabler is the designated hitter, .312 batting average. Pitch outside.
Well, you have a good base stealer at first base, Julio Franco, 24 stolen bases this season. Good hitter who can hit the ball to right field. Might see a hit and run here. This fella is an excellent hitter, good clutch hitter. At least he was last year. Not doing so well this year.
And a strike on the inside corner. Makes it 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike to Tabler. He didn't think too much of that call. Doesn't say anything to Kosk, but he didn't have to. Fellow at one time was the Cubs' second baseman of the future, but I don't think he ever played much there. Always been a good hitter, but never developed as a second baseman. He's played first base here in the outfield, designated hitter, some at third base. Ball 2 and strike 1. There goes the runner, swing and a miss, and into second goes Franco. They had the run and hit on. Tabler missed the ball. Matthew couldn't get it out of his mitt, and a stolen base for Franco.
So he had a pretty good lead. Throws a breaking ball, and Matt could not get a grip on the ball. 25 stolen bases now for Franco.
Ball 2 and strike 2 to Tabler. Ball 3, 3-2.
And Dan has thrown a lot of pitches already in this game. He's just not able to throw 2 good pitches in a row. He'll make a good pitch and then will not be able to get that second one where he wants to throw it.
Ball 3, strike 2, and Tabler steps out. We're ready to go with the payoff pitch. This is foul. Tabler has 8 home runs and 68 runs batted in. Here's the runner at second, Julio Franco. He's there with 1 out. Franco walked, stole second. And he waits on the 3-2 pitch to Tabler. Got him. Oh, he knew it. He wanted to swing after it went by, but too late. So Tabler is out on strikes for the second time. 4 strikeouts for Petrie.
Well, Dan was able to get this one where he wanted to. Look at the ball, right where Matt had his glove. Good fastball that tailed back and hit the outside corner.
The batter will be Joe Carter, who was safe on a fielder's choice play in the first inning. And a big play that was. Here's a strike. One strike to Carter. Runner at second, 2 outs. Cleveland 4 and the Tigers nothing. Good changeup. Strike 2 to Carter. starter with 26 home runs, 79 runs batted in. He's the power man for this ball club. Gets it on the ground, right back to Petrie. Nothing across in the second inning. At the end of 2, the Indians 4 and the Tigers nothing. Our upcoming TV schedule, we'll do the second game here tonight, and then on Sunday we'll be back for the final game of this series at 1 o'clock. Then next week it's on to Minnesota, Tuesday night, August 25th at 8 o'clock, and Wednesday, August 26th at 8 o'clock. 4-0. 4-0. The Indians lead it as the Tigers come to bat in the third inning. Hey, pictures and everything else. Hamtramck, Detroit, Sterling Heights. We appreciate it. We appreciate it very much. Didn't see a picture of Chuck Wozniak. It was on the other side, and we didn't get the other side. There's a strike to Lou Whitaker. Lou struck out to start the ball game. Pitch is high. 1 ball, 1 strike. Indians got 4 in the first inning, and that's where we are. Lou fouls this one away. In Chicago, they had a 3:05 Chicago starting time at Wrigley Field. They're in the 5th inning. 5-3 Chicago leads Houston. And a pitch to Whitaker. Ball chopped towards second. He's going to have to hurry to get him, and nope, not in time. Ball took a bounce high over the head of the pitcher and made it a very tough play.
Seems like the ground in front of home plate is very hard. You see how high the ball bounced over the pitcher's head. Hinzu does all he can, but throws the ball down in the dirt. Lou, good speed going down the first base.
Well, he's on with a single, and the batter will be Madlock, who had a double his first time up. Tigers loaded the bases in the first inning against Yet, but failed to score. Bill Madlock, he has 11 home runs. Bunts, and a good one. They're going to have to hurry to get him. And no. Oh, that hurt, and Yet might be hurt.
Looks like he might have twisted his knee. He took a big divot out of the grass. The umpire is placing a divot. Looks like he might have stuck his spikes in the ground. You can see there. And he's in a lot of pain right now. Bill Madlock, you don't know what to expect from this guy. He'll do anything in the world to get on base. Knows the team's down, and watch him. Oh, he twists his ankle. Look at the ankle go under. Oh,
yeah.
That is a bad sprain, if it is a sprain. But you can see there how he came over top of that ankle. Good bunt by Madlock. They did not expect him to do this. Well, that's excellent camera work, guys. That's a super shot. We hope he's not seriously hurt. This young man looked like he's getting his stuff together. Had an outstanding outing against the Yankees and pitching very well here against the Tigers so far tonight. I'll tell you another thing, he could have hyperextended his knee too. The way he straightened up, he could have hurt his knee also. They're going to watch him very carefully because a pitcher can hurt his arm very easily if he starts favoring his leg.
Natural divot, a fat divot. Well, we're going to get a new pitcher. I don't know that we are. He's gone to the dugout. Now everybody's looking in the dugout. Nobody has left the bullpen. When Doc Edwards called Kosk over to talk to him, he might have asked him, can he go to the clubhouse or something?
I don't think you can do that. I think he must be waiting for a pitcher to come out of the dugout. Another starting pitcher. We have a young man that was supposed to pitch in the second ball game, just brought up, and I'll find his name here. I have so many pieces of paper in front of me.
I'm not being much help to you. I am hunting it.
Is that an Ackerfields or?
No, that's not the guy.
Not the guy, no?
No.
John Farrell.
Farrell.
Is that the guy? He's supposed to pitch in the second game?
John Farrell is going to be the pitcher in the second game. Chuck Wozniak says that Acker Farrell will pitch on Sunday. Well, everybody's standing around waiting. They know more than we do right now. They know whether he's coming back or not, and we have to assume he is coming back. Trainer went with him, and maybe he's going to tape it up.
Well, in the meantime, let's not forget about the Equiville Old Timers game that's going to be played in Tiger Stadium on August the 30th, and that's going to have the Oakland A's, 1972 American League champions, the Oakland A's against 1972 Detroit Tigers. And they're going to be guys such as Willie Horton, Lolich, Northrop, Brown, Stanley, Hiller, Duke Sims, and of course from Oakland A's, Catfish Hunter, newly into the Hall of Fame, Sal Bando, Raleigh Fingers, Dick Green, Mike Epstein will be some of the guys that will be here for the Oakland A's, and that game will be at 1:30 on August the 30th.
They're going to have one here tomorrow, the Equitable Old Timers game.
And here comes Mr. Yet. He's coming back out.
Yes, he is. Let's take a look at some of the banners that are in the stadium tonight from all over the state of Michigan. I would imagine they taped his ankle or his knee, whatever his problem might have been.
Well, he better throw a little better than that.
Yeah, he threw that kind of stiff-kneed.
He sure did. He didn't want to get too much of a. He didn't want to land too hard on that leg. Yep.
He's
you see
not
that?
going to pitch.
That's his knee. He cannot. His knee hyperextended, I believe. From looking at it, he turned over and his knee looked like it bent forward too far. And you can hurt your arm seriously if you pitch when you have to land on that bad leg.
So now they will make the call to the bullpen as Rich Yet limps off the mound.
Well, it's going to be a left-hander. Let's see how many left-handers they have here.
Well, it will not be Scott Bales. He's going to pitch tomorrow. Jamie Easterly, they tell us, is the pitcher. This fellow's had an up-and-down career with the Cleveland Ball Club. He's been very unhappy with management here, and they've been unhappy with him.
Yeah, he's only pitched in 5 games, so he has obviously has been either hurt or he's been down.
Well, while there's a break in the action with the score, Cleveland 4, the Tigers nothing. We're going to pause for this word. Well, Easterly says he's ready to go. So after some delay here, Jamie Easterly will be pitching to Kirk Gibson. Kirk lined out to first base his first time up. Still nobody out as Jamie goes to work. strike. He threw it right down the middle to Gibson. One strike to Kirk. They play shallow in the infield. They've shortened up a couple of steps for Gibson. He bunts it up in the air, and it'll be caught. Gibson trying to bunt his way on, and he popped it up. Oh, the first out of the inning, and the batter will be Darrell Evans.
Well, Doc Edwards, the new manager of Cleveland Ball Club, obviously knew that the Tigers had 3 left-handed batters in a row coming up, and unlikely that any of them would be pinch hit for, decided to go to a left-hander who has not pitched very much for his ball club.
Darrell Evans had an infield single back in the first inning. 2 on, 1 out. Tigers down by 4. And a strike. He got the breaking ball over. 1 strike to Evans. Darrell had a ground ball into the hole at shortstop in the first inning for his hit, and he has a big rip at a fastball. And it's strike 2. And a good pitch to hit. Two strikes to Darrell. Jamie Easterly is the pitcher. And he struck him out. Easterly threw the fastball by him. Darrell Evans strikes out. Second out of the inning, and it'll leave it up to Matt Noakes.
Yeah, it's unusual to see Darrell go for such a bad pitch. He, on occasion, will swing at one up high in the strike zone, but you very seldom ever see him swing at the one that bad. Easterly doing a good job for Cleveland.
He has gotten Gibson and Evans, and now it's up to Matthew Noakes. 2 on and 2 outs. And he pops it up. It should get him out of the inning. Everybody at the mound, and they run together. Can you believe it? Oh, can you believe it? They run together, and they dropped it.
Well, there's a big break for the Tigers here. This is where the pitcher has to take charge. He has to let someone know, and when you have a confusion here, you have to really let them know. You see there, second baseman and the third baseman running together. Here's a case where a rookie's trying to do too much.
They charged the error to Jacoby. He had it in his glove there, and Henzo just ran him down. So the Tigers have them at first and third with a run in, 4-1, and the batter is Morrison, who struck out in the first inning. And he fouls this one away. 1 strike to Jim Morrison. Madlock, the runner, at third, and Noakes at second. There was nobody covering any base. Every infielder was around that ground ball. First, second, short, and third. Pitch inside. 1-1 to Morrison. Well, an error by the Tigers in the first inning gave the Indians a couple of runs, and they give one of them back. 1 ball, 1 strike. Good stop. Allenson saved a run as he went down on his knees to block the pitch. Ball 2, strike 1. Well, as strange as this game has been, Morrison could tie it up with one swing of the bat.
He had a chance in the first inning with the bases loaded. Struck out. Here he can up with 2 men on base.
He's waiting on the 2-1 pitch. And he pops this one foul. It should get back into the crowd and will. Right on top of the dugout. Morrison has 2 home runs since joining the Tigers. One at Tiger Stadium the first night he joined the Tigers, and the other one in Kansas City. It's ball 2 and strike 2 to the young man. Got a strong breeze blowing toward left field. Going to help anything hit in the air in that direction. Jamie Easterly gets ready. Ball 3. 3-2 to Morrison. Runner at first. Noakes will be running on the pitch. Dick Trzaskowski's practically shaking hands with Noakes. He's not going to let him stray off and get picked off before they throw to the plate. Don't run until they pitch, Trzaskowski's telling him. He struck him out. He threw it by him, and Morrison a strikeout victim. Tigers get 1 run in the inning on 2 hits, an error. They strand 2. We go to the bottom of the 3rd. 4-1. The Indians lead it. After each televised Tiger game, Al and I will be announcing the Miller Lite Tiger player of the game. 4-1, the Indians lead it as they come to bat in the 3rd inning. Mel Hall, Brooke Jacoby, and Corey Snyder will be the batters.
If Dan Petrie can hold them in, I think the Tigers are going to be able to score some runs. Right now, it's much easier to see, and shouldn't be any problem for the hitters right at this time.
Mel Hall had a very damaging base hit in the 1st inning, a bases-loaded single, and he pops this one high in the air behind the plate. Noakes near the stands, and he caught it. Can you believe it? He reached in and took it away from a fan. Fine play by Matthew Noakes. Take a look at this.
Yeah, he has to jump in the looks like it deflects maybe off the fingers of that one fan there, and he's completely in his rights. He did not reach onto the playing field. Matthews just makes an excellent play.
And the batter is Jacoby, who takes a strike. Brooke Jacoby walked his first time up. Petrie delivers on a foul ball, makes it strike 2. 4-1, Indians lead. We're in the 3rd inning, game number 1 of this doubleheader. And we're going to be here to bring you all of it tonight, both games.
Petrie seems to have settled down a little bit, and it seems like he's slowed up his body and is using more of his arm. Before, it looked like he was pushing too hard on that, pushing with his body.
It's a play by Brookins, but he won't be able to get him. Brookins did about all he could do with it. So it'll be an infield single for Brooke Jacoby. Tommy really didn't have a chance throwing him out the way he played it. Maybe if he plants his feet and makes the long throw, but he's going away from first base and just didn't have a chance. So a single for Jacoby. He's at first, 1 out, and the batter is Corey Snyder, who struck out his first time up. It's very important to the Tigers that Dan Petrie hold them in right here. They've scored a run. They've stranded 5 in the first 3 innings, so they've had some chances. There's a high pop-up on the infield. Tommy Brookins waving everybody away. Well, Corey Snyder is out. That's the second out of the inning. It'll bring up Andy Allenson. Well, it was a ground ball off the bat of Allenson that led to 2 more runs in the first inning. With the bases loaded, he hit it to Brookins. It scooted between his legs into left field.
This playing field may not be in the best of conditions. They have played a football game here already this season.
There's the pitch from Petrie. It's a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. Good crowd on hand. They've been coming in late, and most of them have settled in, I would imagine, by now. Here's a long belt, and this is going to be out of here. Oh, he got it all, and it's a 6-1 ball game. Andy Allison.
That's only his second home run of the year. And no question about how that one was going to be a home run. Well back in the seats in left field. Dan Petrie comes inside with a fastball, but Allison's able to turn on the ball real well. It's it way back near the post.
And the batter is Tommy Hinso, the second baseman, and he fouls it away. Tommy struck out in the first inning. 6-1, the Indians lead it here in the third inning. Petrie gets ready, and the pitch. Another foul ball, strike 2. The screen here in Cleveland behind the plate does not extend all the way to the upper deck as it does in Detroit and in most places. And once it gets over the top of this screen, it comes screaming into the stands. There's a foul ball. Still strike 2 to Hinso. Bottom of the third, Indians 6 and the Tigers 1. First of 2 here tonight. He got him. Outside corner, and Hinso called out on strike. They get 2 on 2 hits. Nobody left at the end of 3. Cleveland 6, Detroit 1. Here come the Tigers in the fourth inning. Pat Sheridan, John Grubb, and Tom Brookins will be the batters. 6-1, the Indians lead it as we look at a banner. Young lady from Redford Township. We're going to get a batter for Sheridan. It's going to be Lemon. Chet Lemon will come on with the left-hander Easterly out there. Tigers have stranded 5 base runners. They left the bases loaded in the first inning. Left 2 aboard in the third. And Chet Lemon will lead it off in the fourth inning. Pitch outside.
And Chester's moved his batting average up 17 points in the last 6 games. He has really been hot, hitting the ball hard to all fields.
Jamie Easterly delivers. Ball 2. Ball 2, no strikes to Lemon. Larry Herndon has moved to the on-deck circle. He's going to bat for John Grubb. There's one hit to center field deep, way back, and this ball is off the fence. Lemon goes into second, and a stand-up double for Chester. Lemon hit it to the deepest part of the ballpark, over the head of Butler and off the fence.
This ball absolutely jumps off the bat of Chet Lemon. He is so strong, and he's swinging the bat well right now. Hits to the furthest part of this ballpark. A little bit more would have been a home run, but Chester swinging the bat well. Now we have Larry Herndon.
Larry Herndon coming on to bat for John Grubb. It's the 5th Tiger hit. They had 2 in the first inning, 2 in the third. They've scored 1 run. That was scored on an error. Pitch is outside to Herndon. Larry had some big hits in the Tigers' recent homestand against the Minnesota Ball Club. Pitch inside, ball 2. Ball 2, no strikes. Runner at second, nobody out in the 4th inning. Tigers down by 5. Jamie Easterly gets ready. Ball 3. 3-0. Tom Brookins will bat next. Ball 3, no strikes. Easterly came on in the 3rd inning with 2 on, nobody out. Did a good job. They did score a run, but that on an error. He walked him. Larry Herndon gets a walk, so the Tigers put him at first and second with nobody out for the 2nd straight inning. And the batter is Brookins, who's been to the plate 1 time, and he struck out. Lemon, the runner at second, Herndon at first. Pitch is low to Tommy. One ball, no strikes. When Easterly came on in the 3rd inning with 2 on, nobody out, he got Gibson on a pop-up, struck out Darrell Evans. He got Noakes to pop it up, but a collision at the mound. They dropped the ball, a run scored, and then he struck out Morrison. Ball 2. He's having some problems here in the 4th inning. A double to Lemon leading off the inning. He walked Herndon on 4 straight pitches, and he's missed with the first 2 to Tom Brookins.
Easterly, a seasoned veteran. He's 35 years old. He spent 3 years with the Atlanta Braves before going to Milwaukee.
There's a strike. Ball 2, strike 1. Tommy was taking all the way, trying to work his way on there. And he pops it up. Joe Carter outside the line at first base will pick it off. So he gets Tommy Brookins for the first out of the inning. And the batter will be Whitaker. Lou Whitaker struck out to start the ball game, had an infield single, and scored a run in the 3rd inning. Lou batting at .268. Two on, 1 out. This game is nearly 2 hours old, and we're only in the 4th inning. Swings at a high fastball. 1 strike to Whitaker. Pitch coming up from Easterly. A bunt attempt, strike two. Strike two to Lou. I think he asked Greg Koss, did I bunt at it or was it a strike? And I think both times the answer would be yes. Either way, what hit in front of the plate.
One of the few times you'll see a called strike and a wild pitch on the same pitch.
Strike two to Chet. Tigers have not been able to rescue their base runners. And Chester strikes out. He threw him a breaking ball, and Chet couldn't find it.
This pitch looks like it really goes down and in on Chester. A breaking ball. You see the slider out of the strike zone. Chet just could not hold back. Good pitch by Easterly, who has pitched in only 5 games for Cleveland this year.
If he pitches like this, he'll find a spot for him. Their bullpen has not been effective. They've been looking for somebody to come out of the bullpen and do a job, and Jamie Easterly has done that tonight. Here's Herndon. He walked his only trip to the plate. Pitches high to Larry. Tigers put 2 runners aboard in the 3rd inning, the first 2 with nobody out, and they scored a run on an error after 2 were out. They put the first 2 aboard in the 4th inning and did not score. They put the leadoff man on base here in the 6th inning. There's a fly ball into center. Butler is there. So Herndon is out on a fly to center, second out of the inning, and it'll leave it up to Tom Brookins. Tom Brookins is 0 for 2. Struck out his first time up, then he fouled to the first baseman in the 4th inning. Mark Thurman is throwing in the Tiger bullpen. Eric King was throwing earlier when Petrie was in trouble in the 1st inning. Pitch to Brookins, low. 1 ball, no strikes. Morrison opened this inning with a single. Went to second on a wild pitch. He was there with nobody out, and he's still there with 2 outs. This ball 2 to Brookins. Ball 2, no strikes. 6th inning of the first game of a doubleheader. And we're going to be here to the very last pitch tonight. You be with us too. There's a strike. Ball 2, strike 1. Morrison, the runner at second, 2 outs, and the 2-1 pitch to Brookins. Ooh, foul, barely foul past first base. Tommy swinging very late on a fastball, drilled it maybe 2 feet outside the line. Ball 2 and strike 2. And the veteran left-hander looks at it. There's a line drive into left for a base hit. They're going to wave him in. Here's the throw, and saved. And down to second goes Brookins. It was going to be close. Allison did not come up with the ball.
Well, Tommy hits this ball hard. I didn't think Morrison had any chance at all to score. Ball comes in. You see he slips there a little bit. He actually makes a pretty good throw. He's not known to be a good throwing outfielder. The ball looked like it gets there in plenty of time. Allenson tries to make the tag, and he doesn't have the ball.
So a single, a run batted in for Brookins. He goes to second when the ball got by Allenson. They score that, a single for Brookins, an error on the catcher. And the batter is Lou Whitaker. He takes a strike. Lou struck out in the first inning. Singled in the third, scored a run, then he lined deep to right field in the fourth. In case you just joined us, Indians got 4 in the first inning, 2 in the third. Tigers got 1 in the third to take a 6-1 lead. Here's a base hit into left, and they're going to wave him in. Another throw to the plate, and save. Down to second goes Whitaker, 7-3.
Well, you can tell the scouting report on Mel Hall that he does not have a strong throwing arm, but he executes this as well as you could expect. He charged the ball well, makes a good throw. Tommy Brookins going all the way, and he makes a dangerous move, sliding head first into a catcher. It's a good way to get hurt. But this ball is thrown on the money, and Tom's just able to get his arm in. Post play.
7-3, the Indians lead it, and the batter is Madlock. All this happened with the runner at second and 2 outs. And a foul back in the upper deck. 1 strike to Madlock. I tell you, a base hit here, and we'd do it all over again at home plate.
Have another left-hander up in the bullpen. Looks like number 36. I think that's Vandenberg.
A 1 strike pitch to Madlock. It's a ball. 1 ball, 1 strike.
There's number 36 in the bullpen, the veteran left-hander.
Ed Vandenberg throwing in the Cleveland bullpen. A pitch to Madlock. And a base hit into left. We're going to do it again. Oh, he's going to throw to second this time. Madlock with a base hit, and in to score comes Whitaker, 7-4.
And Doc Edwards wastes little time before he even crosses the line as we take a look at Madlock getting his 3rd hit of the night. Base hit sharply in the hole between short and third. And Mel Hall said, hey, I've seen this act before. I'm going to throw it into second base.
And when he threw it into second, he just threw it high in the air. He just lobbed it into second as if to say, can anybody tag him out?
Hey, that first throw, after he made the throw, he stood out there in short left field with his hands on his chest, saying that the guy should have been out.
Well, while there's a break in the action with the score, the Indians 7, the Tigers 4, we're going to pause for this word.